Hi, I'm Kathy Carlisle, and welcome to Let's Plunge. This podcast is an exploration, an invitation to slow down, breathe deeper, and meet yourself more honestly than before. It's for anyone craving soulful clarity in the middle of real life. Not perfection, not polished, just presence. So if you're done with surface talk, if you want to feel more connected to yourself, to others, or to your own damn truth, this is your space. Grab your tea, your journal, or just a few quiet moments. Let's plunge. Okay. What did we do that was so different when people ask us, what'd you do to make your kids feel so close and bond? What'd you do, Jake?
First of all, I wonder, there's a lot of people out there that have great kids. I wonder if they all get that question. I don't know if we're super unique in getting that question.
Totally.
It's an honor when people ask that question. We have great kids. They get along with each other. They are respectful. They're, contributing to society. I'm sure lots of different parents would have their own answers for that.
I feel like we were very intentional and conscious of not wanting our kids to grow apart because they were so close as toddlers and even young ones or teens. Once they hit teens, the collective talk was they're going to grow apart, they're not going to like each other, all those things. And I was like, I can't have that. I think both of us craved a healthy, close sibling dynamic that we yearned for ourselves.
Well, when they were in their toddler phase into young child phase, we didn't allow them to fight very deeply. We know they had their disagreements, but we would get involved pretty quickly, and I'm sure our kids would have an interesting statements or perspective on that.
I think we talked about that with them before, and they did have fights. Yeah. We just never let any get out of control that we were witness to.
Yep, and we were always on the same page, you and I.
Yes.
There's no...
Same team.
Mm-hmm. We're always on the same team. Didn't let them fight much, at least in front of us. So I think they would probably have more perspective on that. Right. The arguments that they had when we weren't around. But they knew, if they're around us a lot and they consciously had to appear like they were getting along, I think that helped when they got into the teenage years and they did get along. Not like they weren't best friends. There were the three of them, but
Jelena brought up something the other day. She got together with a friendship from a long time ago, and she was noticing the difference, or talking about the difference for her growing up, knowing that we'd be doing all sorts of stuff as a family. I think Jamie chimed in on this too. Like, oh, we were all together. We were all doing something or watching TV together, whereas when they go to their friend's house, they never saw the parents. Mm. So that was another component that just added to our relationship and collective family bit that we have, that it's not like they didn't have their private time in their room, but even then we'd sometimes just bust in on them and be like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You want to play? What are you making?
Yeah, even as teenagers, we didn't give them the privacy of their own room. They had their room. Jamie and Trey shared a room.
Till teens.
And then Trey moved downstairs.
Yeah.
But even then, we didn't let him keep his door closed and he's in his space. We'd barge in all the time, and I think that was
so we're just overbearing
helpful.
Parents, probably.
Probably, but it was more joking. It's not like, don't you close your door. It wasn't like that.
Play with them.
Yeah,
You just snuggle.
Yeah, trying to open it up, keep the house open. But you did some unique things, and you had some unique desires, especially with Jelena, in regards to coming of age. And as she was 12, 13, 14, period was coming, what made you decide to treat that differently with a celebration?
I'd love to say there was some kind of deep thought and longing for a long time. I think it just came in the moment. I likely was doing a lot of women's workshops, working with my mentor, Maria, and was just really inspired by ritual. And something came over me. It was before there was period parties, because I remember having her ritual period party, and then there was kind of things online that were jokes of like a cake that was filled with blood cake filling, and
never heard of that.
Invite your friends, and so it was more hokey performative. And I was really hell-bent on it being ritual and inviting my friends to the party. So it was like bringing the elders in, welcoming her into womanhood.
Did she have any friends that were her age at the party?
No.
Okay. So what did your friends, what was their part in the party?
To bring in their wisdom, elderhood, to like Jelena did a performance with her ukulele and sang in front of everyone. One of my girlfriends came in and taught them how to belly dance. I brought in the henna artist to put henna on her hand to explain what henna means. So it kind of unfolded right in front of both of us. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, and yet Spirit was coming through me saying, do this thing, and it worked out to be something so impactful for both of us. I mean, every one of us at the party, my age, felt like the party was for us. Like, there was some excitement and giddiness that all of us had, that wouldn't it be so cool if we would have had this when we had our period, and that it wasn't so hush-hush and embarrassing and gross. So I think all of us were kind of recreating it together of like, what if she felt so special coming in and shared her talents and her gifts, and we proved to her how special she was to us.
It did feel, as an outsider, because I definitely let it be a women's thing, and but it felt like it was more tribal.
Totally.
Like you would do centuries ago, where all the women would gather around this young
Totally.
adolescent woman.
It was very almost wedding vibes, in that when she woke up in the morning, you were greeting, I think it was like the day before where she actually had her period, and I was like, go tell your dad and share it with you, and you were just so excited for her and hugged her. So then the boys, on the morning of her gathering, they gave her special tokens and cards, and they were really excited for her. And I know that subconsciously was just wanting to be seen by my siblings and felt special. Like, I'm coming into womanhood, look at me.
And I think it was good for the boys, because Trey is 2 years older, 3 years older, and Jameson is younger. So they got to see a celebration for what a woman goes through.
Totally.
Whereas, Trey was probably getting ready to go into high school, and Jameson was still in elementary school, getting ready to go into middle school. And they got to have a different perspective on period, menstruation, coming of age for a woman. And I don't know what it was like for them. It would be interesting to ask them of like what their peers, what the conversation is for a youngster around that. But it did bring them together. It brought them together for sure.
I have no doubts that they were different and surprising to girls and women their age, because they weren't shy of period talk. Hence why the video that was posted went viral, 3 million people, of the boys being nice to Jelena and making sure her needs were taken care of, as a joke but not a joke. Right? So she had the video that went viral, and most people, Jake and I thought that most people were really hitting like because there was a funny fart in it. Trey was like, do you want me to leave a fart? And then you could hear the fart. So we were like, that's why it's gone viral. And sure enough, all the comments were, in fact, I can't believe your brothers are so nice to you. If my brother knew I was on my period, he'd punch me in my stomach. So that was alarming and surprising to me, but also shows me how different the boys are towards period. They aren't going to cringe and be like, oh, gross, because they saw their dad modeling for them of like, yeah, I'm going to buy tampons and talk about periods and respect women for going through this.
Interesting. Well, I think I brought it together. It brought them together a lot more. We kept a very open house, not locking them in their room or letting them lock themselves in their room. And I think you were always spearheading, talking about the obvious, or talking about the things that are maybe not talked about when you were young?
Yeah.
In your household, having 6 brothers and sisters? I don't know what that was like, but...
we were not talking about periods.
Yeah, but we opened up those conversations in our house, and I grew up with pretty much a single mom, and she didn't open up to those things.
You guys didn't have a lot of, from what I could tell, you were at the lower end of communication.
Very much.
So I think I was driven for both of us to just have more communication.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look what I ended up creating, right? Plunge is all about communication. I just want to talk. I want to talk about the elephant in the room. I want to talk about periods. I want to talk about death.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about the thing no one is talking about.
Mm. Good job.
Jamie gave us a question of what was the hardest thing about parenting?
Being okay watching them fail.
That's hard.
It takes practice.
Yeah.
And I know when I'm not doing well with it because I'm trying to swoop in and fix things, but then, you step back, and whether it's failing in a relationship, a friendship, a dating relationship,
School,
or sports, or trying to ride your bike and you're falling, whatever. All those things are really hard for me as a parent. And I think for most parents that's difficult. I think the hardest part was allowing it to happen and watching them spring back. And
one would say watching your heart live outside of you. So all those things you just said is
so deep.
Totally. But yeah, I think
Okay.
another hard thing for me was not wanting anything different for them than they wanted for themselves. Mm-hmm. That was a big component.
Mm-hmm.
Not living vicariously through them.
Mm. Yeah. That came in through sports quite often. Either we were doing it or we witnessed it with other families.
A lot of our parenting was based on what we didn't want.
Mm-hmm.
Like how we were raised, we just wanted to do it different. We were both raised in beautiful, different ways, and we thought we wanted a totally different way together.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think every parent does on some element. I mean,
Yeah.
I idolized my mom, and I still wanted to do it different.
Yeah.
But so many things I did as a blueprint that she gave me. How to nurture them physically, feed them, and spoil them.
But I think every parent, I have judgments when I look at other parents, and I'm like, especially when toddlers aren't disciplined to some level, given some type of boundaries.
This is why we raised our kids when we did.
Right.
Because I would parent just like that.
Sure.
Like when my elder Ilarion was sharing last week with me about he was raised in one of the last patriarchal villages, and the elders were all super cautious and tuned into not creating a voice, so they were careful of what they said, thought, or felt around the child as to not give them an external authority.
Mm.
We did not give that to our children.
No.
We were an external authority, a gentler version of patriarchal model both of us were raised, well, I was raised in, you were not, because you were not raised with a dad, but you still had an external authority that you rebelled against at some point.
Mm-hmm.
If I did it over again, there'd be, or if I parented in the way that I am now, I would work really hard not to give an authority, which means you let them throw a fit. You hold them through the deep emotions and stuff that we would have had no tolerance for in being authority to our toddlers. Get in line, be appropriate, quiet down. You're not going to piss off everybody in the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have to do their own therapy for that.
Yeah. As you say that, it makes me think of, we did say that we were on the same page, which was important, but we had a plan without having an actual plan. And I say that we knew each other's parenting styles were similar. I don't know how many families, when they start having kids, even discuss it.
I wonder how much we discussed. Do you remember the discussions?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah. How should we handle that? I remember those conversations. I don't think we did it from this super mature place of what is our parenting style going to be or what's our strategy. Okay. But in particular moments, we would talk through it as husband and wife.
Got it.
How should we handle this?
Right. When we say
Trey's,
same team, I would never be like, Jake, don't do that.
Trey's breakup, when he had his first breakup. Oh yeah. Heartbroken. We would talk about it like, let's let him ride this out, and let's not swoop in and overcoach him. And we had those discussions. I don't know how many people have those. Usually the husband will jump in and do all this thing, and the wife will have a whole different role in that piece of parenting. And I think we did a lot of things together.
Totally.
Which could have been better for them. I don't know. I'm thinking about the frozen yogurt place down the street. Craving a little frozen yogurt. Later. We'll do that later. It's a walking distance, actually.
I digress.
Yes.
Do you have anything more to add on parenting?
Yes. So with the boys, I took them camping.
Yes, you did.
At the age of 13.
Male ritual.
It's a male ritual. I didn't have this ritual. I wanted it. I wanted to. So when I was 14, I would go hang out with my friends, and I would drink Mad Dog 2020 and St. Ides and all these things that are disgusting. And I'm like, I'm supposed to do this because my friends are doing this. So I didn't have anyone who talked to me about alcohol or about sex, or I just learned it from my friends. Today, there's the internet, there's cell phones. And so we went camping. I went camping with Trey first, and I brought a big old case of Coors Light, a BB gun, fishing poles, just fun things to do with your kid and maybe to do with your dad. And we had a lot of, I think with men and boys, activity sparks an opportunity for vulnerable conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's been said from therapist friends that
Really?
men do better. Walking, going on hikes, that's when men get vulnerable, when there's something in action to talk about things.
Yep. So we did a little campfire with Trey and cracked a beer, and I gave him a beer. I was like, here, drink it up. He's like, I don't want to. And I could tell he was answering that from a place of, you're my dad, I'm not going to drink a beer. And I'm like, you have to drink this beer. Like, you have to, because you're going to be pressured. Next year, you're going into middle school or whatever. You're going to be pressured. People are going to tell you to drink, and you better try it, and try it with me and drink a whole beer. So it was just fun. We had that conversation. Yeah. He had a few sips, and then we ended up just shooting a bunch of beers with a BB gun.
Do you remember talking about sex and what you would have said?
Yes, we did, but I don't remember exactly what we talked about. I talked more about dating and, and the desires of sex and what you might see on the internet and what's real, what's not real. I didn't get into the depths. I did talk about protection with both of the boys. I was really trying to get them to talk, and they did a little bit. But I think I just wanted to create a door for them to walk through down the road, which was helpful.
I love it. There's people out there that are taking notes right now, because I don't think dads do that.
Oh, well, my dad didn't. No. Yeah, I just learned it from friends. Like, there's so many people that just learn all this stuff from society and from friends and from the internet, and the person that's supposed to really take care of you and coach you through this stuff is a parent. And I think we probably got a C+. I got a C+. And I'm sure there's a lot of parents out there that get an F. I could have done a lot better. But a C+ is a passing grade.
C's get degrees.
But if we were to be grandparents and we had permission, I would do more to kind of help my grandkids through those weird things.
I would likely encourage their internal compass more than anything, because I don't want to be the external authority. I don't want to coach, and I think that's why it was so important with me with the app. Like, when you get to the depth, when the individual starts opening up, especially your teen, that you don't lecture more than you listen. Mm-hmm. The lecturing comes so naturally as a parent, knowing you have to be the authority and figure everything out and make sure everything's comfortable for them. Mm-hmm. And with my awareness now, I would calm that right down to be like, you know what's best. what does it feel like if you do the wrong thing? I remember watching this one grandma and child. They were in acupuncture before me, and he was putting on his shoes. She was trying to hurry him, but she also knew that she couldn't hurry him. So she was like, okay, why don't you put on your own shoes? And you could tell she wanted to help, but she patiently waited because she's grandma, because she can. And she was like, okay. And she knew he's putting on the wrong foot. She goes, okay, when you put those on, see if it feels right to have them on those feet. Or does it feel different? Does it feel weird? And I was like, this is incredible. I would have told him 10 minutes ago, get your shoes on here, do it for them.
Allowing them to fail
and feel
it.
Like, what does it feel like instead of right or wrong?
Right. It's a very cool way to parent. We weren't there at that level.
We didn't do that.
No.
I wasn't raised like that, because you can't do that with 7 kids.
No.
Okay, maybe some mamas out there today, but my mom wasn't raised with that. She didn't have the blueprint, so my blueprint of raising kids was not that. You tell them what to do. And I think our generation...
And get them involved in sports and activities.
Right.
And keep your mind busy with that stuff instead of have real deep conversations.
And that's why our generation became what I call the snowplow parents. It's not the helicopter parents. That was a little bit before us. Maybe my siblings were helicopter parents. And then it became snowplow. Like, let me get everything out of the way and not let them feel any kind of discomfort. That became the ultimate authoritarians over them. We know best. I mean, I already knew that because...
What's helicopter parenting then?
Helicopter is like, man, my parents weren't watching me. They were just drinking and smoking, 70s, 60s, right? And so we're going to actually pay attention. What are you doing? Are you going to sign up for basketball? What are you going to do with that? Right? Like, way more involved in that way. And then I think our generation took in way more of the emotions. It was more about the feeling. Like you and I, when we decided to not go to every sporting event, because we realized being at every sporting event, we were trying to help them emotionally through everything. So I was like, oh my gosh, when we get home with them, we're talking through every, like, did you see when that guy did that illegal screen on you? Wasn't that annoying, right? And then they might not have even felt that. So then when we started saying, hey, we won't go to your event unless you invite us, then they were starting to come home without us watching them performance-wise, and they'd be able to totally share a totally different experience.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like in other countries, but in America, youth sports is ridiculous. And if I remember there was a moment where I was just thinking through what my sporting experience was like as a young kid. My mom was always working, so I just kind of did things on my own. I just did it. I went to the gym. I went to my tryouts, and she didn't even know I tried out for a sport. I just did it. My friends talked me into it.
You're the number 2 recruit out of the state of Florida for football, and your mom isn't even clued into any part of it.
But I also know my mom didn't go to my math test. My mom didn't check up on me on a quiz. And for some reason, sports is a different thing for parents.
Yeah.
Like
multi-generations now going.
Yeah, we don't care to see how they did on the science test to the degree of, like, I'd like to go watch them perform that. Sometimes we do it with music, performing arts, of course, but sports is a different, yes, it's the parent, it's the grandparents. Everyone comes and you cheer, but then you start coaching from the bleachers, and you wouldn't do that during a science test. You'd be like, I hope they studied. I hope they do okay. And I think it's unhealthy. And
I think it's all pendulum, right? And we just keep swinging a little far that way. So is it wrong for grandparents also to go to things? No. How beautiful they can go.
But does the kid want you there?
Did anyone ask? Did he or she ask you to go?
They expect it because their teammates' parents are there.
Yes.
And that's where we realized, like, maybe they don't need us there or want us there. If they do want us, they can invite us.
Which was going to give them the resilience. This is one of those things that we created real time, where I came in and started having the conversation of, like, do you think we should go to sports?
It was really Jelena. When she was in high school, that's when it started.
And I'd say MS was a part of it, because I'm now getting more sensitive, and now I can't do the things that other parents are doing. Not because I was disabled. There was just something that shifted in my brain about it, perspective-wise. And once that perspective changed, it was hard to go back and live vicariously or passionately through my kids' sports and realize how much I was taking over or we were taking over emotionally for them. Mm-hmm. But I'd say it's an I thing because I'm the one that's talking about the emotions of how'd you feel on the court? How'd you feel about that award?
And you did share what it was like for you as a youngster with your dad was loud in the stands.
Very embarrassing.
Your mom and dad were both at the games. Your siblings were sometimes there. There's just a lot of family pressure watching you that could be helpful for you as an athlete. It also maybe not what you want. I had none of that. My mom watched me play college at Coastal Carolina. She came to my game. I think that's the first time watching me play basketball. I was like, what'd you think? She's like, that was cool.
That's a big component of our parenting. Mm-hmm. So if I had family, full engagement, siblings and whatnot at my games, you hardly had your mom at maybe a handful. We always thought, okay, what kind of steps can we take towards each other? Mm-hmm. And you ended up taking more steps towards me when it came to how we raised our kids. And then we both found our way more towards the middle because I wanted to get more towards what you were raised with. Mm-hmm. Because I saw how much resilience you gained in doing things just for yourself, going to college for yourself, knowing that you wanted something, then you made it happen. I admired that resilience so much. And I'm like, okay, how do we instill that in our kids?
Making them pay for a portion of their car and trying to help them figure out just some early things in life. It was really cool to watch Trey in junior college figure out, I got to pay rent at this place and I got to split the bills with my roommate. And so many of our fellow parents just write the checks for all the stuff, which is not wrong. It just delays the learning process for the kid to figure it out.
We're being mindful within a privileged arena. We're in the arena of privilege, giving our kids privilege, and we're thinking, how do we do it so they can still have the resilience? So we had to do it differently. Like being the only parents that weren't at the event that we wanted to go to so badly. Like I would have said back in the day, and probably did, I love going to every sporting event. It's like date night because I loved being able to be with you in the stands, snuggling. So it is this perceived, you and I are bonding, but we weren't. We're not working on our marriage. We're celebrating our child doing, not being fully present in the event to each other. And so, okay, we're bonding. What happens when there's no kids in the house? Do we even like each other? We just did everything because the kids were bringing us together with it. But we weren't spending quality time with each other, growing our marriage.
That's true. I think, it really came to a head when it was the post-game drives or the post-game talk at home. We're like, we are too involved. Like this is, Jelena quitting volleyball in freshman year just because it was just too much. She's just like, not too much from you, just too much from everyone to be, you're going to be an amazing volleyball player. You should play basketball. You should be doing all this. You're an amazing artist.
Getting recruited, yes.
Geez, she needed some space for sure. Yeah. I think we made a right call there.
I'm not saying it was easy to get through that one.
No, it's all right.
The kid quits the sport that you love and want to live vicariously through. Yep.
Right.
Had it happened any other time in my life, I would have fought it.
Yep.
Because of the perspective I had and it already shifted into, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Jameson was struggling with just the emotions and the energy of basketball, both in end of high school and junior college. We were really hoping that he would quit. We were like,
begging.
You're not happy.
Yeah.
But he just felt something socially that he couldn't quit a basketball thing. He ended up in a good place with it, but it was a struggle. I wish he would have stepped away sooner because he's happy without it.
For sure. I think both of us struggled through that, and I can see all the reasons we had to. Right? To watch him build up his own resilience, to find out who he is, to go through therapy, open up the door for you to say yes to therapy one day. You're like, yeah, my son did it. It was great for him. Why wouldn't I do it? We wanted something different for him real bad, begging him to quit. But I think it was really important that both of us were able to share that our voice is not the one of we're going to be disappointed in you. So whatever voice he had in his head that says, I should stay with this, I can't quit, we wanted so badly to make sure it wasn't our voice in his head.
Yeah.
Because I did that to my parents. I was like, oh my God, my dad's going to be so pissed. He's going to be so mad at me if I quit.
Yeah.
And that was not his voice.
Right.
It was so easy to put that voice on him being the authority.
Right. What are the questions you have as a parent?
We talk about how you're such a hot dad.
Thanks. Thank you. Pretty hot mom too.
Oh,
You drink
thanks.
because you take liver pills. That's a good job. Good topic.
Great topic. Thank you so much for joining me. If something landed, let it ripple. And don't wait till next time to plunge. I've got your plunge question of the week. But first, go hit like and subscribe, please. What do you consciously like to avoid?